Let's pod.
Be natural, be natural, be natural. Sorry. You're so going to regret getting me in.
3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3.
Hello and welcome to All I Do Is the Jubilee and the Queen are around and we're here. My name's Tom Elwes and as ever I'm joined by my co-host Mr. Ali Woods.
Oh, hello. Oh, my name's Ali. Hello, Piffy.
Ali, can you take it seriously for 1 minute, please? God. Anyway, so I'm actually in Dubai, so I'm not actually going to do this episode, but I'll pass you over to Ali and Phoebe for the whole episode. Thanks, Tom. Thank you very much. And thank you to the other Ali that was there, the creepy goblin Ali. Thank you. That's just me slowly fapping away. And as for our... if you watch on the YouTube, you'll know that's not true. So I am joined, as ever... Well, not as ever, but most times, by our wonderful producer Phoebe. Producer Phoebe, how are you doing? You okay?
Hello. Yeah, I'm all good. Actually, well, the house is still an issue, but it's fine. We've got old problems and new problems.
That is, well, we'll get into that in one moment. We're not going to talk about it. It's fine. But she just, normally every week, Phoebe comes and says, like, my life's falling apart. And we're like, okay, cool, cheers. Let's get on with the podcast. So what we're going to do is, because Tom is away in Dubai, we got a message, guys. He got a message yesterday, guys. Sorry about this. Had a mare with the flights. They want me in Dubai early. Then he said, "I've got to fly out tomorrow night." I was like, don't think I can do the podcast. It's like, you're in Dubai. What do you mean, don't think? It's not like you're trying to squeeze it in with another gig.
He was going to do it over... Am I allowed to talk yet, by the way?
So
you've not introduced me.
We are now going to get...
You've not introduced me, but you're just chatting away. Fucking hell.
My ideal podcast is this. You're watching. I don't know why you've got headphones.
You invited me along, but then you're completely ignoring the fact that I'm here.
I don't know why you've got headphones and a mic. You just...
Like a live goggle box.
So,
she's walking.
This is such a whinge. So anyway, I was explaining, we've got Phoebe, Tom's away, and I was just about, if we could have waited 30 more seconds to introduce our fabulous guest co-host today, the wonderful Tatty Macleod. How are you doing? You okay?
Stop it, Phoebe. It doesn't feel authentic now.
I've never clapped for another guest host, actually.
Or for the own host.
Or for anyone.
Or for anything that's ever been said on this podcast.
Any comedy show I've ever been to, actually. No. I think everything's shit.
How are you doing? Thanks so much for stepping in. You all right?
Well, yes. I think, big shoes to fill. Tom's shoes. Big shoes to fill.
Big hat to fill.
Big hat to fill. Big hat to fill.
He's got a huge head. In case the listeners don't know that.
I feel it. These were like we had to.
So that he normally has two.
I came in, guys. They were like this.
The headphones. He normally has two. He ties it. He sort of connects one round to the other and puts it around sideways. That's what we get Lucas to do. He holds one of them up. It's his main job, but he's not here today, unfortunately. So what's been going on with you, Tatty? So if you don't know Tatty Macleod, where you been over the last 2 years, she is huge on the gram, on the TikToks, just, killing it on the online game.
Thank you, my
She's
friend.
got her own regular show at 21 Soho, the coolest comedy club in London. Yeah, and speaks Spanish or something. I don't know the ins and outs, but
well, you wouldn't because you're an Englishman, so for you, foreign language. That's what it is.
That's very racist,
just
actually, to say
language.
that. Yeah, no, I'm not going to learn it. Actually, ça va?
Très bien.
I don't know what that means. But it was,
Wow.
that's good, isn't it? Wasn't it?
Kills
Sorry,
me.
Phoebe, that means how are you in French?
Oh, thank you.
Phoebe, have you got another language?
Non. Je peux parler un peu de français.
Ah bah ça tu vois, voilà. Ça c'est excellent. Voilà.
Alors on danse. And
that's a great song.
It's a big tune.
It's a great tune.
Big old tune. But yeah, so Tatty, what's been going on in your life? We haven't obviously caught up with you ever on this podcast. I don't think you've ever been invited. Sometimes we get people back, but I don't think you ever invited.
I love that. I love being here. I'm really glad
Thank
I'm
you.
here. That's
We love having you.
Well, you don't know that yet because you've never had me before. But
Don't worry, we can cut it all out. So it's
do-
just me and Phoebe talking in a room. It may be.
But that makes sense. But I do love you're like, it's so great to have you, so great to have you. You messaged me last night at what? Like 9 p.m. to be like, can you come tomorrow
4
morning
p.m.
at 11?
4:30 p.m.
Well, let's put it this way. It didn't feel like a considered choice. It felt like it was literally, you text everyone, I was the last person left. And you were just
You
like...
were not lost.
I can vouch for the fact that Tom told us with very little time to find someone.
Okay, fine.
You were not lost. You were first out after the first date said no. You were the first one.
Be honest with me.
You were first, second choice.
You were first, second choice of the third, fourth dropout.
Your message didn't even... Your
have a name. Didn't have a name in it.
It didn't have a name in it. It didn't have. He didn't say like, "Hi, Tatty, could you do some?" It went, "Hello, are you free tomorrow, 11 to 12 p.m. to record this podcast?" And I just,
Hi, Michael. Are you free tomorrow?
It was like, I was like, "This is a broadcast text message on WhatsApp. If I've ever seen one." Do you know what I mean? It was literally addressed there, and I replied and I said, "Yes, because I have nothing better to do." So, thanks.
Well,
for
I mean,
me.
but you say that, but you're being honest. You've got plenty going on. You are. I mean, if you don't know, Tatty does lots of sketches on social media that blow up, that go viral regularly.
We both do, don't we?
Well,
yours go more viral than mine go viral.
I saw your videos actually, Tatty, before I met you, and it wasn't until after I'd met you, and then I went to like follow you on Insta, and I realised, oh, it was you.
That happens.
Yeah.
That definitely happens quite often,
Because
actually.
I enjoyed your clips like through lockdown and stuff. Like that was really fun. And then I met you, and I was like, oh my god, that's the girl
Same
from the
person.
gram.
Thank you.
Look
Thank
at
you
that.
very much.
You've got fans.
But you're doing amazingly well on social media.
Could always be better. You know how it is. Could always. It's
That's
good.
a bit
But I feel like I don't get a lot of attention on in my life.
We've gone deep so quick.
In my life. I feel like I don't get a lot of followers on TikTok. That's what's...
You don't get?
Yeah, my videos do well, but
Yeah.
then I don't get followers. But Instagram's doing very well. And I want to say thank you to everyone who does follow me and shares and likes and comments on my posts. I really appreciate it. And I want to shout out Beth, specifically, who came down to the gig I was doing on Wednesday with her boyfriend and is a listener of the show. And is a big listener of the show. Only got into it 3 weeks ago. She came down to watch... And how about this, Phoebe? She said they went to Turkey and they started listening and they listened to it every night while they were on holiday.
No.
I said, oh dear.
Yeah.
I said, well, and anyway, good luck in that relationship. They do seem good. Very attractive couple, I will say.
Oh, I think we need to unpick that a bit.
Yeah.
Every night.
Every night in Turkey. Could you
Your
imagine that,
voice.
Phoebe? Us talking with Tom, him going, you can't say that. And I'm like, anyway, so my voice again. And then Phoebe's like, guys, over a period of maybe 14 nights, maybe. Who knows how long they were in Turkey for.
It's
Were they
weird,
having-
like, when people do listen to... Oh, are you going to say...
Phoebe,
No, but
that's our
like,
producer. It is weird when people listen.
I know. I was like, isn't that the concept
But
of
like
the podcast?
people that like my housemates will start discussing stuff with me that I've apparently said on a pod, or they'll talk about the podcast and they'll start listening to it and they were like, oh, you weren't in this week's episode, and I'm like, no. they just listen to it anyway.
And what's the point of listening to? That's what a lot of people. But Phoebe is often people's most liked member of this podcast. Not hard competition. To win.
Having met Ali and Tom, I can believe that.
It's more best of a bad bunch, I think, than a favourite.
Yeah.
No offense, Phoebe, but yeah. Well, okay, so if you were going to have sex to a podcast,
Sorry.
but that's what.
I thought that's where you were going.
Yeah, with Beth.
This is
But
why. I mean, you just.
Let's be honest. But
Just
let's
filth. Just filth
Beth,
in
I'm
the mind.
sorry, but
Me and Tom
clearly-
never talk about sex. We don't have any. We just get on with it.
Well, Tom does have a young baby, so that figures.
W-
I don't know
once.
what your excuse is.
I just prefer to make love emotionally.
That's disgusting. Oh my god, please don't put that on your Hinge profile. Ugh.
Don't have any
God.
profile.
If you call yourself a saposexual, I will punch you in the face.
What does that mean?
It's-
You're into people like the.
No brains. It's people who are like
It's fucking brains. Weirdo.
saposexual. I'm attracted to people that I'm attracted to their brain.
Oh really?
Yeah,
You have that?
it's like there has to be an intellectual connection first.
But you meet all these sort of odd people, don't you? On your dating experience, I've chatted with you before about all these
Well, to be
all
fair,
these types who come out with all this shite.
I've been in a relationship for a while now.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it warrants that, but yeah.
Bon anniversaire.
Which means
No, it just doesn't mean that.
no, but it was my birthday 2 days ago.
Hey,
That's what I'm saying.
1st of June. Thank you very much.
on anniversary.
But but let's go back just because I do want to hear this. I don't.
Okay.
What if you were going to have sex to a podcast? What podcast would you listen to?
I don't listen to many podcasts. I've listened to like 2 podcasts or 3 podcasts. 2 are Man United podcasts, and then one is a film podcast. But now I don't listen to that anymore because they've stopped it. So
I'd love it if you were like, I listen to many podcasts. They probably have to be my own.
Yeah, literally. It's only about a climax. So, who says I don't already?
And then it forever be the conundrum. Is it my voice or Tom's voice that's making me come? I don't know which is worse.
yeah. Phoebe comes on soft again, but Tom goes, "What? I'm just saying, TFL needs to sort it." I'm like, Tom, keep talking, man, keep complaining. So out of those, the problem is, Man United is so bad right now. I'd probably listen to that.
What?
Man United are so bad right now.
Oh, okay.
I'd listen to that and it'd become a sort of hate fuck. It's just not.
Oh,
I'd get so angry and irate that I think that's what
Have you
it
ever
would turn
hate
into.
wanked then? Like a hate fucked yourself?
Every wank's a hate wank.
Every wank is full of self-loathing.
The sooner you realise that, the quicker it'll go through. No, I don't. But I don't listen to podcasts when I masturbate either.
I love the
I don't listen to podcasts while they masturbate.
Yeah, but I love the idea that you would like turn a whole like sexual thing to sort of like football thing where you were like, now you be Chelsea and I'm gonna be Man U and like fuck you Chelsea.
Yeah. I've often said that. Would you rather they were wearing the top of your team in like a sort of fantasy of like, oh, they're with you, or the top of your rival, and then it's like, it's like more
oh my God,
taboo.
I should buy a Tottenham shirt.
Yeah, is he an Arsenal fan?
Mega.
Okay, yeah. Well, but I think that might. But I don't. But he might prefer Arsenal. I think you'd have to talk to him. It's your boyfriend, Jesse. What about yourself? What would you have sex to? What podcast?
You know what would be fun? It would be fun to do something like I think more like just for like the shits and giggles to subject my boyfriend to it, but like a Brene Brown or like an Oprah podcast about like self-love.
Oh yeah.
Like something that was like, you have to trust yourself. You are an amazing person.
Yeah.
And then during
You're
sex,
looking, why don't you tell
like,
me this?
I'm a great person. I am a queen. You know, that could be quite fun.
Yeah. Sort of. Would you think he would respond to that? Do you think he'd be like, you are, or do you think he'd be like, shut the fuck up?
No, I mean, no one speaks to me like that. But he.
Well, no one says you're a queen.
But no, the last one. No one
Sorry.
tells me to shut the fuck up. I mean, no one tells me I'm a queen either. But
You've got a nice middle British ground of people going, you're all right.
yeah, you're nice.
Yeah.
You look good.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, it's a weird interval. We'll cut that out, won't we? Good.
Phoebes, what about yourself? Podcasts, having sex? I mean, this is a touchy topic for Phoebe because is this dry spell still going?
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Bloody hell, drops that straight in there. Is there a dry spell, Phoebe?
Yeah, but I think it's
But it's-
by choice.
Yeah, it's choice.
It is very much by choice.
It wasn't for a month, but now it is.
I think it is by choice, but I think it's by choice doesn't sound like it's by choice.
Because
I think we need to like
Yeah, so I think it's by choice because I'm not into it, but now I'm wondering if I just need to like almost rip the Band-Aid. Like if I feel like if I leave it for too long, I might just forget that I've ever liked sex.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Mate, you're supposed to like sex? I thought it was something we did for the lads. I thought it was something.
It's true, and the crying session afterwards.
Oh.
That's why I do it.
Yeah.
That is why I do it. I thought that's what meant getting wet was about. I thought that's what it
During,
meant.
yeah. She's so wet, she's ready to...
Yeah, exactly.
Phoebe, can I ask how long it's been? Have we discussed it?
That's very personal, Tatty.
Well,
you don't even know this lady.
You turned to her and said, "How's the dry spell going?"
I don't know if... Is that live on the pod before that I'm in a dry spell?
We've tried to set you up. We tried to
Okay.
set you up with people.
Did you? Who with?
No, we've opened it up.
Listeners.
We've opened it up to the listeners. And
Oh, that's so funny because I walked in here and I literally the first thing I said to Phoebe was, "Are you single?"
well, you should
I
stop
just
trying to hit on her
screamed
and
that
just
every-
fucking do the podcast.
Well,
for fuck's
no,
sake.
because I in my head I was like, "Oh, I think there's someone I know who."
You know someone.
Maybe.
Interesting.
This is what I'm interested in.
Yeah,
they're
maybe.
fit.
So what?
I would say they're fit. Yeah.
What
I
is
don't
it
know if
about
you're gonna
them
gel.
that you think they've got an undercut as well? What's the vibe with them that you think they would get on with Phoebes?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
But I don't know if this is really bad. He's really into gingers.
Oh, no.
Is that a
Ginger
terrible
fetish.
thing to say?
Ginger fetish.
Is it fetishizing?
I
I'm
get
with
that.
two gingers.
Yeah,
I
I get
don't know
that
if
bit.
that does that count as fetishizing, because I know that physically he will
White
find
people.
you attractive.
Am I right? Am I right, Phoebes? Honkers.
Is that no? But it's good. No, but it's important to discuss these things because it might be that I'm fetishizing you. As soon as I said it, I felt was that bad. But basically, because the other thing I should have said is I know that he'll find you fit. But so I don't know if that's like.
But is he fit? This is the question.
Yeah, I think he's fit, but I don't know Phoebe well enough to know what she likes.
Yeah,
but
anything
I know
with a pulse, baby.
Well, then yes.
She likes them broken,
Yeah.
not very responsive, very like sort of lean. So like not thin and but like muscular, but a bit not too big.
That's not true.
Is that not true?
No, I don't have a type.
Oh really? I thought you liked the sort of surfer bodies a bit too much.
I have been with people that look like they need a good meal.
Oh yeah.
But I've also been with people that
it's more
stolen the meals off those people.
She's a sapiosexual, but the opposite. She likes idiots. That's the thing. So she likes brains of people who are dumb.
Oh,
that's also not true, actually. I just need people that are emotionally inept.
Emotionally unavailable, yeah.
Well,
so I can act like a
men.
mother figure.
Yeah,
That's most men, isn't it?
Yeah. It's very easy to come by.
Absolutely.
But not obviously
But
Tom.
so I just want to reiterate, not being gingerist.
Yeah.
I know that he will fancy you, and I just wondered if you were single and therefore maybe whatever. But I don't know if you would fancy him. That's what I was saying. Please don't,
No, that's okay. We'll see pictures afterwards and
yeah.
We'll put it on the Adif Instagram.
Yeah, we could do a poll. Like, should Phoebe go on a date with this person or not?
Yeah.
And then we've got to wait to see if they actually want to as well.
Yeah. And then it's like 91%, yes, we asked. He said no. So that's it. That would be brutal.
That would be very brutal. I'm sure there must be loads of listeners who are into Phoebe. She's gorgeous.
Of course.
I don't know if they know what I look like. Actually, no, some of them do.
You know what? They come up to her at the live show and they said, Phoebe, and I said, Phoebe, this lady loves you. And then she went over and she went, oh, thank you, and then walked off. And I was like, how rude is that? And Phoebe thought I was joking. So this poor,
he always takes the piss out of me.
It was so funny.
You don't know what to say.
This poor girl, she was like, Phoebe's my favourite. She's so good. And I was like, Phoebe, come over here. This lady loves you. And Phoebe was like, oh, cheers, yeah, thanks. And then walked off. It was like, I'm too big for this.
I thought you were joking because you always take the piss out of me.
Fair enough.
I've never done that. Everything I say is just mean. I don't say it's taking the piss. I say it's actually criticism and things you should take on board.
So is this the podcast?
We haven't started yet. No, this is
okay. I wasn't sure because I just felt like this riffing. I was like, do people listen to this?
This is the podcast, Tatty.
People enjoy this.
You've got to get you closer to the.
Do people enjoy this?
No, I wouldn't say they enjoy it.
Just what we did there. Do people enjoy that?
I wouldn't say they enjoy it. They listen to it. When you talk about podcasts to have sex with, people have told me that they like our podcast because when they wake up and they're anxious and they want to go to sleep, they put our podcast on. It helps them go to sleep. so that's if that's what we're doing, if that's how we're helping.
Well, we're out there and that's what we're doing. That, to be fair, that is a really good thing to be able to achieve, to make people fall asleep.
I do it regularly. So, Phoebe, you didn't. Was there a podcast particularly that you think you would have sex with?
Yeah.
Would you have sex with this one and think, I'm gonna?
That'd be weird because it mean like you'd be kind of be wanking.
So, yeah, maybe like a food one. Then I could work up an appetite.
Think about what you're gonna have afterwards.
Yeah,
like off the menu.
No. More like literally talking about like a chef talking about food. I reckon.
Oh.
If there's one of them out there.
That's quite a good choice actually, and also it's like relatively neutral, sort of background noise.
Yeah. Great stuff. And
well, that went well.
There we go. Well, and we'll start the podcast now. Support for All I Do Is Fail is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code FAIL at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code FAIL. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Okay, that's our first ever promo we've ever done. And so, oi. So that's cool. And then I also just want to talk about what we have to talk about as well is the time. It's a delicate time in a gentleman's life where you nick your shaving. You're trying to get rid of the pubics, trying to get rid of them, and you just give yourself a little nick, and it's tough because first time it happened to me, I thought I'm going to bleed out. I thought I'm going to lose. I was like, I'm going to lose a ball. Because you never know. It's like when you get a little cut on your head and it bleeds loads. And I was like, is it going to be like that? But you know what? It's not good and you shouldn't do it. So look after yourself. Phoebe, you a fan of pubes? No pubes on the balls?
Do what you want, darlings.
Do what you want. Look
but
after
it is appreciated if someone has taken some care.
Yes.
Which I believe is what manscaping is allowing gentlemen or anyone with hairy balls to maintain them.
Absolutely. So back to the podcast. We have been recording for the last 20 minutes, by the way.
No, I know. It's just I
wasn't sure why anyone
wasn't sure why.
would listen. Appreciate that. So we move on to our first section, which is what we're going to do, Phoebe, I think, is we're going to do Agony Uncle, then we're going to try our DM in the middle, and then fail mail. So we move on.
Oh, do I need to do the sound effects?
It's our regular producer. And so we move on to our first section, which is, of course, Agony Uncle. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Did you hear that in the...
Wow, that was really Radio 1.
It's high tech.
That was some serious production value.
So when you were like, what is your role? Like, why do they pay you? This is for this.
I was like, I'm sorry, is Chris Moyles here? Shut up, Nick Grimshaw coming through.
You know, I got a shout out on the Chris Moyles show. We put it on this podcast. You know, I did randomly.
What?
Yeah, out of nowhere. The guy came...
Sorry, start that again. You got a shout out on the
Chris Moyles show out of nowhere. Yeah,
what, a radio show he does.
Yeah. On the one, his producer came to see me at Top Secret and just mentioned me randomly in the
Mate,
and I was like, that was so cool. Anyway, enough of me. So Agony Uncle. This is where. Do you know what this section is?
Well, I think I can kind of guess. It's like an agony aunt, but because you're two men who do it, you call it agony uncle.
Mate, you have fucking read that fucking brief.
She's a clever girl.
Both sides.
Not just a pretty face.
What?
So as we always say, we're going to try and help you out here. If they've come to us, they're pretty desperate. But with your mind, your wisdom, with your sapiosexuality and my just actual sexuality, then this is so here. Okay, we are.
Are you okay?
We're all good. We're going to try and give them advice, but they're pretty desperate when they come to us. So,
okay,
so this is really a last straw, last throw of the dice.
Right, go on.
So thank you very much for sending this in. So my mum started dating one of my best friends 2 years ago.
Okay.
And they are now a couple.
Yep.
She's 67.
Good.
And he's 31.
Okay.
The same age as I am. My mum is completely smitten with him and behaves like a teenager. Every time I'm around them, I feel like I suddenly have a brother who is constantly making out with our mum. During the pandemic, I had to move back to my mum's and live with both of them for 6 months. It was the worst time of my life. Any advice on how to deal with this wonderful situation? Wonderful in sarcasm. I've got some more detail, but go on. What were you going to say? Something?
Are these true?
This is true.
Are you serious?
This is true.
This is
I can't show you the person because it's anonymous, but this is someone.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Are these true? I don't know, but truth here, Tatty. I had to just make accounts and send in stuff, but apart from that, it's true.
It sounds like something that you would write.
Me? Why would I write this?
Something that would happen to you.
Some MILF porn. Oh, something that happened to me. My mum is a good-looking woman, so I wouldn't put it past her, but she's just not interested.
Isn't she married to your dad?
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past her to get divorced and then go out with Tom.
No. She's just not. I wouldn't put past 31-year-olds being attracted, but I think she's just not asked.
Okay.
She's given up, I think.
There's more details. Go on. I'm very invested in this.
I've been feeling extremely frustrated at times, but I can also see that it's a funny situation, so I do laugh about it too. It wasn't great fun having to hang out in my old teenage room while my mum and my friend were having romantic dinners outside. But now I've moved out and don't have to spend too much time with them. My sister is extremely embarrassed every time we hang out with them, but I try to be open-minded and to act like I'm not super awkward. I honestly want my mother to be happy, and I've been hoping she would meet someone for years. I just wish she hadn't chosen someone I didn't know. To be fair, if I'm single in my late 60s and an attractive 30-year-old makes a move on me, I probably wouldn't say no to that. So what do you do? So she is open-minded, but obviously this is fucking horrific as well. What do you do, Tatty, in that situation? So maybe let's say your 67-year-old dad has started dating a friend of yours. What would you do?
Interesting that you flipped the gender there. I received that differently. I think.
So mum would be different, but to dad.
Well, yeah. I don't know. No, do you know what? Like, no, because I think that when you're a 30-year-old woman, you're very much.
How do you know?
What do you mean?
About being a 30-year-old woman.
Well, I mean, I'm living it.
Unbelievable.
I know. I look 22, but
yeah. I would say that. Act like a 22-year-old. Grow up, really.
Skin girl. Never. What I would say to that, to be honest with you, like I hear what she's saying, but also I'm just like, her mum sounds like a fucking legend. Crack on. Crack on. Like, it's one of those things. What I would say is that she would find that it's more shit for her mum to be single and unhappy than it is for her to have to like endure kind of seeing her mum with someone who's much younger / a friend.
But would you be okay with that if your mum
100%. I would actively encourage it.
Yeah, would you go on double dates with your mum?
My mum would be like, I'm really uncomfortable, this person, and I would be like, but do you like them? And she might say, yes, I do. And then I'd be like, well, then, do what makes you happy. He's an adult. You're obviously an adult. If you two get on, well, doesn't really matter why it's happening at the end of the day. It's like, live your life and enjoy it. Also, there are so many, the problem as well, there are so many men in that age that she could meet who are absolute douchebags, that I think if she's met a nice one, the fact that he's 31, and if she actually likes him, this guy, then she's doing well. Like, better the devil you know. Don't get rid of him to have him replaced with some man who's closer in age to her mum, who turns out to be a complete dick. Yeah,
it's a good point. And what if your friend was coming up to you being like, whinging about your mum, like, oh, she's really fucking hell, she's trouble. She keeps.
It's really awkward. She keeps wanting to watch Coronation Street.
Yeah. So many Werther's originals I can have. You know what I mean?
I don't want to go on another cruise.
Yeah.
No, I think he's.
How would you navigate that situation? It's not just your mum, but your mate being like, oh, the old missus, fucking hell, the ball and chain.
No way. If I had a friend who was dating my mum, I'd be like, I'm sorry, that's. You
wouldn't talk about it. You
keep that to yourself.
But you'd be okay with it.
But I'd be okay.
What about if your mum was talking to you about your mate?
Do you know what? Even if I wasn't okay,
like, he doesn't want to have sex with me enough.
Even if I wasn't okay, my mum would never say that to me. Ugh, what a gross thought. And forget.
But that's what you got to be okay with. If she was coming up to you,
because my
being
mum
like,
would say
Tatty,
that
the problem is, let's call him Rupert. The problem with Rupert is, I want to have sex 3-4 times a day, and he's only doing it 1-2. And how do you cope with that? I've got high libido. You know what the Macleods are like.
My mum would never say that to me.
But she is in this moment. What would you say?
Okay, well, I would be like, I don't want to hear about that.
Oh, Tatty, come on, we're pals. Come on.
Is that what Mum's saying to you? Is that what you're saying?
That's what Mum's saying. Your mum is saying to you. Come on, stop, get over it.
Does your mum talk to you about her sex life?
No, what sex life? They're done. They are done. I know that my dad talks to me about it.
Does he?
Yeah. I had a good old chat.
Me?
Nah, I had a good old chat after a couple glasses of wine in Manchester when we were watching the football. Me and him had a good old chat about.
Oh my God! Please tell me.
That's his business. That's his business.
What? How did you react to that?
I loved it. It's jokes.
He was like, "Well, your mum." Blah blah.
He didn't slag me off. Your mum. I shagged your mum. Fuck you. Yeah, to be fair, but no, I was more like, geez. And then we talked about previous sexual experiences he's had and stuff like that. It was great. I asked him how many people he slept with.
And what did he say?
Your mum. He said your mum. No, man, that's his business. Not
it's
me.
like your mum, isn't it?
No, it's more than my mum.
Was it double figures?
He met my mum when he was 33.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we had a couple of years behind him.
He was divorced. He had a marriage already.
Oh. Stop it.
Yeah. And then when we found out that, I didn't know that until I was 20.
How old are you now? 31.
21. Sorry, 31, bro. Why'd you say that earnestly? That wasn't even a joke. That wasn't even.
No, because I thought you had your 30th birthday party recently.
Who do you think I am?
A 31-year-old man. What the fuck?
Ali gets really touchy about his age.
I can hear it. Your voice has gone up to about 5 octaves.
Because I'm young, because my balls haven't dropped yet. I'm 28.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so
31.
Crazy. So your dad at your age now was married?
And he was divorced. Got married at 22, divorced at 25.
Oh, wow.
Bruv, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. I think she was 19, 22, 19.
Wow.
Married 3 years. Boom, done. And then my sister was like, he definitely has other kids. And I was like, I couldn't tell you. But he swears he doesn't.
Wow,
Because she then went to live in America.
We're getting into the
Mad. But I would talk to my parents about this. It's like if they wanted to talk to me about it, because I'm interested. I'm always interested about older people.
Okay, so as I've gotten older, I definitely.
What are you? 48? What are you? 48, Tatty?
Yeah, I am.
Does it?
I am 48, and I.
Yeah, you are.
I'm fine with it. There's nothing. Do you know what my?
Yeah, because your head's gone.
What does that mean?
Because you've given up. Because of 48. That's why you're fine with it. There's nothing. No good. There's no good.
There's no. The reason why I say that is because people. I'm 33, right? And I always say my age. I'm never like trying to pretend like I'm younger, or whatever. No. And people come up to you and they'll be like, "Oh my God, you don't look 33. Oh my God, you know you look so much younger than 33. I would never have guessed." And I think, no, I don't. I look 33, and that's okay. I don't know why people think it's a compliment to like tell you look younger, because I'm like, it's also fine to be 33 and to look 33.
But would you rather you went?
Looks like.
So you would rather people just went? You went. I'm 33, and they went. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's not offensive to look 33.
I'm not saying it's offensive, but you'd rather that than them go, "Oh my God, you
look so." It's because they say it like it's a compliment. Oh my God, you look so much younger than 33.
But
like,
that's a nice
I
thing,
want you to know you look so much. Yeah, but it's like it's part of this kind of like this thing of like youth is better, looking younger is better.
Okay,
and I'm just like, no, like looking 33 is great. Looking 48 is fit. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, 67's the new 30. That's what I mean.
Exactly.
I want to see a picture of this mum. That's the other next thing I want to see. 67.
To be fair, I mean, my mum's a very attractive woman. She's obviously older than me. She is single as well. To finish on the sex thing, I think that talking about sex with your parents is something which I would force myself to do in a bid to be open-minded. You know, to be like, she's not just your mum. She's a person.
Shagging a 31-year-old.
She is a person who has sexual desires. Listen to her as a whole human being.
Okay.
But it would be painful. I wouldn't want to have that conversation. And I definitely don't talk to my mum about my own sex life.
Yeah, I'll talk to your mum about your sex life. Phoebe.
What do you know about my sex life?
Really,
it's happening.
Yeah.
She has one.
She's putting on fucking off menu or whatever. Phoebe, what would you do in this situation? Your 6-7-year-old mum is now dating your mate. What do you do? How do you navigate that situation? I mean, to be fair to this person, it sounds like she's doing a good job. She's like being open-minded, but it's just obviously disconcerting.
I think it's good that they've moved out of the house. I think that was the situation, really. And also, just talk to them about it if it gets that much.
Talk to who? Your mum?
Either of them.
And say...
The couple.
No, I disagree.
Do you?
Because what can you say to them? Oh, the fact that you're in love makes me feel uncomfortable because societally... people with such a big age gap is a bit like...
No, because it's your mate. I think it's more the fact it's your mate. It's not the age gap. I think it's the mate.
I think that does add another layer to it. It's not just she's met a 31-year-old who might just be into like that's his deal. He loves. It's like, why my mate? I would have a chat with my mate, be like, bro, come on, what's the deal?
Because it depends.
Is this a bit?
Also, it's like if you've known the friend since you were like at school and they've grown up with you. Like it depends how long you've known the mate. I think if it's like an old friend, that might. I don't know if it would be weird or not, but it would make it different.
Phoebe, are your parents together?
Yeah.
Are your parents together?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, coming from someone who has a single mum, I would do anything for her to meet someone. So like, I would love her to meet someone. And if she did, and she was happy and she was in love, I wouldn't give a shit how old, as long as it was legal and blah, blah, blah. I would just accept it and be like, yes, thank you. That is the most important
What are we talking about?
thing.
How old's your mum?
Yeah, she's great, yeah.
How old?
Oh, I can't say that.
Okay, let's say she's 67 for the point.
Okay.
18-year-old guy.
Too young.
Well, you just said it was legal.
Yeah,
you said it was
fine. But that's too young. I think 30
but
is
socially, you just said socially.
Yeah, but I would find it creepy. I don't think it's... I have a slight issue with like even a man in his late 20s going out with it. Like if to be honest with you, I'm an 18-year-old, I'd be like, I really hope she's
well, I'm
like
fucking 45 or whatever you said I was, so yeah, fucking...
God, you got such a funny thing about your age.
I just like to look and feel young.
Why?
Because I do feel young. Yeah. To be fair, I actually quite like aging. I feel like I'm growing into my body. I'm getting more irritable. And it's great.
Men, I really, I feel like, you know, your early 30s is like when you really start to...
Well, I've got that behind me apparently, so that's so that was a good time. Okay, so what? So overall, we're just saying keep trying to accept it. We're saying maybe.
Fuck what other people think.
Fuck what other people think.
Fuck societal ideas. Don't be embarrassed.
Don't go back in the house. Don't live in the house.
Don't live in the house. Yeah.
Don't live in the house. Do not live in the house. Okay. Try and be happy for them and avoid having any conversations about their sex life.
Cool. Okay. Problem solved.
Problem
I wish
solved.
we had hang on. Is there a sound for a problem solved?
Hey!
Yeah, that's good. We're sorted. Good luck to you and your mum. We don't often say that. And your mum as well. Just good luck to you and your mum.
Good luck to you, your mate, and your mum.
Yes, exactly. So now we move on. And excitingly, the debut, the first of this potentially world-conquering feature, might be the only time we ever do it. But we will find out very soon. This is a feature we've just started, which is we're going to try and decode the message of potential fuckboys. And we're going to see...
Well,
and normally...
You've got the right guest in for this.
Yes. Well, this is what's interesting, because normally we have two fully fledged retired fuckboys, me and Tom Elwes. Excuse me? Excuse me? What's that sound, Tatty Macleod?
Okay, sorry. I can believe that Tom maybe was a bit of a fuckboy. But you're not. I wouldn't call you a fuckboy.
Well, okay. I would
say player.
Yeah, you definitely.
I do say player.
You jump.
And that is the term
I do say player. You're quite right. Well, look, I mean, I never want to be fucking people around, but as in, like, I've seen it, or I speak it. I speak the language.
You jump from woman to woman.
Excuse me?
Yes, you do. But I don't
jump anywhere.
I wouldn't call you.
Pass.
Why? How long have you been with this girl for?
3.5 months.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, babes. I'm sorry, but like, let's give it a year and then let's talk about it.
Well, I might be dead by then, considering how old I am. So...
I've just been honest with you. I'm not going to be around the bush. Let's, 3.5 months.
Let's see. Well,
Is
anyway.
Is that a record for you?
Enough of my... That's not what we're here to discuss.
Is that your retired fuckboy by 3.5 months?
Maybe a week. Well, I was never a fuckboy anyway, apparently. So there you go. So anyway, but I speak the language. For sure.
Okay, sure.
So, and we have you, a fuck gal.
I'm not a fuck gal, but I've definitely had my own taste of the fuckboys. They have definitely been on my radar.
In just case you didn't think Tati spoke French, you have just had it right there. Done. And
just before we go on to it, just give me a quick definition of how you would define a fuckboy, so we can be.
Okay, so this is where I think I am not a fuckboy, to be fair, or have not been, because I would say a fuckboy for me definition is only interested in very casual dating and will keep a situation as confused as possible and keep maneuvering around that to keep people on the hook in that casual way, not caring about whatever that person thinks the situation is. And dating multiple people at the same time and all that sort of stuff.
So
not loyal to one person.
Done?
Yeah, if I'm allowed to speak on my podcast, then yes, I'm done.
I would go with what you've said.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on.
Wait, I think the important bit about a fuckboy is whether you were like, they're only sitting casual dating, they think they keep things muddled. No, that is not what a fuckboy does. A fuckboy enters into a relationship with you being like, you're fucking amazing. You are the most incredible woman I've ever met. I am besotted with you. I want to see you all the time. I've never felt this way about anyone ever before. You're incredible. You're kind of like, I feel like this is
No, but that's what they need to hear at the time.
Let me finish. And you're kind of going like, I don't really know. Like, I'm not really sure. Like, but like, I do like you. Okay. So you start to get on board with them. And then they keep this going for about, a couple of weeks maybe. And then suddenly they ghost you. That's a fuckboy.
I agree. I do agree with that. But that's keeping the conversation muddled. That's keeping it confusing. Because they're confusing you.
They do whatever the other... they will manipulate any situation to make the other person want them. Exactly my point. So they do that, Tatty, but also some guys might play it differently depending on who they're trying to...
Because they know that person will respond to them being distant.
But what's important, the point I'm making is that the problem with fuckboys, they never enter into something being like, look, I'm looking for something casual. No. They'll enter into it being like, I'm looking for a serious relationship and I'm really like... And often they've got really good language. They've got the right vocabulary. They'll be like... I've done a lot of work on myself. Like I've actually really invested time.
I might call that a soft boy.
Okay, but soft boys are fuck boys too.
Yeah, it's a category.
It's a subcategory of fuck boy.
There's different types of there's the soft boy, fuck boy. There's your traditional alpha, like
but the key thing is the rug pull. They pull you in, and you're thinking, okay, I'm starting to feel a bit safe in this relationship. You let your guard down, and then they're like, bam, they text you back.
That's
Go
what
on.
I'm saying.
Right.
Keep it confusing for you. Say whatever they need to. So I got 2 here, and it's from the same person. We'll keep it anonymous, but here we go. And there's a little bit of context. Text number 1: was this chat going to go somewhere else if I replied Sunday night because the cover question feels sus?
Okay.
That's what they've said.
Can you say that in a different accent? Because I can't distinguish it from your voice. Can you give that person a character voice?
Okay, so I will. What I'll say is I will play the person who sent this in as my own voice, and then the fuckboy will have a different voice.
Yes, thank you. Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Hey, I need your advice on something. Good morning. Happy to help. A good vegan restaurant in Soho, Covent Garden. Mildred's or Gautier? Thanks. Any others? Why? What's wrong with those? Why are you asking me about vegan restaurants if you're not asking me out? And then no reply. So.
And what was one before?
Thanks. Any others? And then she said, why? What's wrong with those? Why are you asking me about vegan restaurants if you're not asking me out?
Is that the only text message? I thought there was another
That's
one.
all we've got. So it starts. I'll read it again. Hey, I need your advice on something. Good morning. Happy to help. A good vegan restaurant in Soho, Covent Garden. Mildred's or Gautier. Thanks. Any others? Why? What's wrong with those? Why are you asking me about vegan restaurants if you're not asking me out?
What was the thing about Sunday?
Yeah.
Because, okay, so she sent that in the evening of a Sunday, so she's asking if maybe that was the wrong time to send it or something like that. Because I will say this is a double message. She says, why, what's wrong with those in the morning, and then there's no message, and then in the evening she later sends the second message to be like, what's wrong with it? So do you think that was going to go anywhere, and it's like,
no,
she's messed up?
No, he was asking her opinion for someone else's date.
I agree. And then there's been no response since then. So
can I don't think that's...
You don't think...
I don't think that's not much of a fuckboy message.
Well, I mean, this is fuckboys are larger.
I feel like I'm going to be really unpopular here, but I'm just like, is she vegan?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you might write to someone and be like, this person's vegan, and it could just be a starter to a conversation.
I think that's a open closed case, to be honest. I think this guy was not that interested.
Yeah. Did they have a? Do you know them? Did they have a history or anything?
I don't know anything more than the context of them.
Let's imagine a situation. Right. Let's give it some wider sort of context. Right. Let's imagine a situation.
Let's make up. Yeah.
Hey, thank you. Let's imagine a situation where they have been on a date. And maybe even a couple of dates, and then she's sort of there thinking, when am I going to see you again? He's been a little bit distant maybe, or like they've been texting a bit, but like nothing has been firmed up, but he keeps getting back in touch with her with these like random things of being like, hey, saw this funny picture, and then sends it, and this keeps happening, and then he sends her that, and then I would totally just be like, well, why the fuck do you keep texting?
I think that's a good point. I think that seems like the situation.
That's when I'd just be like, well, why you keep texting me? Like, we've been on a date 3 weeks ago.
Do you know what it's called?
What?
Breadcrumbing.
Yes. So if it's in the context of breadcrumbing, 100%. If it's a context of like, I don't know, a first bout of communication after having a nice date together, I think maybe it's a little bit... I think you could probably be a bit more chill about that. And
I
quite like their reply, to be honest. I think they've hit the nail on the head. Just stop replying now.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think you played it right. I think you basically look, I don't want to have this back and forth. Like, try to be a bit cheeky with it and be like, why are you asking for vegan options? Well, I will go on a date. And that's if he's not responded, then he's not interested. So
100%.
Done. We're done with that one. Well done, team. Now the second one. So this is it's the same person, by the way, sending these. So they've got
is it the same? Is it the same person?
Same person,
and different person.
different texting.
So they're a fuck girl themselves.
Well, so this is it. I think this one. I think the
these
last
are
one.
different fuck boys.
I think the last one was different fuck boys.
Okay, yeah.
I think the last one was a bit of a more of a retrospective of like that one's done. In the future, do you think I was too forward or something like that? But I think it's just that they weren't that asked. So
Also, I mean, it is true to say that I think if someone likes you, you can always get. You can even get through like difficult conversations. You can say to someone like, why are you talking about vegan restaurants if you're not going to invite me? That wouldn't be enough to put someone off if they like you. It wouldn't be like, oh my God, that's so forward. Like, I can never speak to her again.
the way she just said that, like what am I supposed to say to that? Like, put me under pressure. But I'm already struggling. Like, I'm doing like a lot of work, and like gaming is like taking a lot of my time. Like, I don't have time for this confrontation,
I find it really funny that you went online to find some fuckboy messages. Why don't we just look through your phone?
Well, apparently I'm not a fuckboy, so wouldn't be there. My messages were like, thank you for having me. Hope you got home safe. Then we have boy number 2 that I met on holiday. He asked me to come back to his, I assume, and then cancelled. Is his excuse real or fake?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just read it out as it goes, and I'll do myself again as her, and then a different voice for the guy.
Mm-hmm.
You've been distant these last few days. Is everything okay? Do you still want me to come in June? I'm having a lot of personal problems. I wanted to talk to you about the trip. I wanted to ask you if you can't change the date. I think
oh my God, I've dated him.
I think I have to go with my father to a hospital in Madrid in June because my father has problems with his legs. Then it says this message was deleted. I didn't want to tell you because I thought you might be mad at me, but I prefer to tell you. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope your dad is okay. I can't change the date. I got non-refundable tickets, but I'm not mad. These things can't be helped. I'm really sorry. I feel very bad. I can send you half some money for the ticket. And then she said, it's okay. So again, this feels like a little bit of a retrospective. Do you think this is true? Do you think he's making it up and he just couldn't be asked?
I think he's making it up.
Making it up, you reckon? Why?
Sorry.
Why? Father's got problems with his legs, man. We've all been there. My father has problems with his legs.
So this is a guy that she met on holiday.
On holiday, they had a bit of a fling.
They had a fling. They kept chatting
and
afterwards.
And then he said, come back.
Oh my God, it's so fucking classic. Of course he did. Because he's in a fantasy world where he's like, oh my God, yes. And then when she booked her flights, he was like, shit, she's actually coming.
Actually going to be here.
If he really liked her, real talk, if he really liked her, he would call her. And he'd be like, I'm really sorry. It's weird anyway that's happening over text, to be honest. I feel like if you're going to visit someone, you should be calling them up and being like, why are you being distant? Like, what's going on? But if he really liked her, he'd be like, I'm really sorry, actually, that's not going to work because I've got to go and do this, but please can we move the dates?
Or bring them along. I once was sort of seeing a guy. And I went to his...
How was his dad's legs?
No, I went to go and meet his gran in hospital. She was in hospital.
Fucking
and
hell,
I met,
Phoebe.
And I thought I was going to... They said, you stay in the house, like we're going to go and visit her.
Why did you stay in the house as well?
Because I wanted to stay in the house, but he was like, no, you should come. And I met all of his like extended family. It was so
how long
strange.
had you been dating this person?
We weren't ever technically... It was come on, it's me. It's a classic situation. Never actually dating. Basically never spoke to him again after that.
Why?
Not because of that, but just because he like loses interest.
His grandma died. And they don't bring ghost girls, don't bring the angel of death, Phoebe.
You become like the bad omen in the family. No. Every year
they're
like...
And they go, Angel de Muerta. They're just like...
That's Phoebe.
Phoebe.
You bring her, then grandma, she died. A dying breath with Phoebe.
The Grim Reaper Phoebe. She was wearing a black hoodie as well. They're like, no!
Gingers get a bad rep.
Pasty, pale, like death. That is insane, Phoebe. How did you behave while you were...
Well, obviously I'm a delight, so...
That's nice.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I was like talking to the nan and to everyone. Someone had just gone on holiday, so I was like looking through their holiday photos with them. I was just trying to be supportive of this guy.
So much work. That's so much work.
The guy wasn't in the hospital anymore. He'd gone.
Yeah.
He was just there with his extended family.
That is so much emotional responsibility.
Yeah.
Fucking, he should have put a ring on it there and then.
The guy was like, I've actually got to go play football, but can you stay with my nan?
Yeah, exactly. Just put on my clothes and pretend you're me.
That's insane, but well done.
Yeah, so if this guy really liked her,
Yeah.
Brought her to the hospital.
Help with the dads need help with the legs, I'm sure.
But
Take a leg each.
It's complete. The whole thing is bullshit. It's 100% bullshit. But what I find just like exhausting is just like, man up, like fucking say it. Like,
toxic masculinity alert.
What, man up?
Yeah, Tatty Macleod. I mean,
Well,
maybe in your era.
Fem up then. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Just literally like grow a pair of tits. Like tell her that you're not feeling it. Just be like, look, I'm sorry. I know we've been chatting away for a while, but actually, all things considered, this isn't really going to work and I'm not really feeling it.
So to help with these people, so what are the telltale signs? If you've met someone on holiday or, on a trip wherever and they've asked you to come back, how do you know if they actually mean it or not?
Well, to be honest with you, she felt it. She knew it.
Also, she should have accepted the money.
I would have done, to be honest with you. He wouldn't have sent it.
No, he wouldn't.
You reckon?
But you'd have at least said yes, please.
Yeah, you say,
Also, you only pay for half as well. You should be paying the whole thing. It's his fault.
Yeah, I'd say like, or if I were her, I'd go and I'd have a solo holiday.
No, you would, but still on his expense.
Yeah,
good
I
point.
think I completely agree with you. I'd be like, yes, I would appreciate that, and then immediately send your account details.
Yeah, and a little spending money wouldn't go amiss.
I would look out. You know what signs I would look out for is like if they actually organise a trip, then it sounds like they're more interested. We can do this. Let's do this. Blah blah blah. Where if they're just like, I wish you were here. Oh my god, I miss you. Like I wish you were in my bed and all that sort of stuff. I would say that's fuckboy behaviour.
Is that what you say?
Well, I don't message anyone. There you go. Do you want to come back? I'm like, I'm too busy with comedy.
Here's the thing you could do.
If I can get a gig in Madrid, I will come. But there's no English-speaking gigs there at the moment.
That does make sense.
That's really, really on
That's
brand,
exactly
actually.
what it says. That's exactly what it says. I would say get him to come and see you. That's the best way to avoid it, isn't it?
Yeah,
if
it's
he's
a good
serious,
point. Yeah.
get him to come and see you. But also at the same time, I sort of think it's exhausting for girls or women, people to be like having to constantly like second guess people and be like, but they're saying this, but is it genuine? At the end of the day, it's not your responsibility to have to get someone to tell you the truth. That should just be happening. But I guess until you're like, but sometimes it's like you can be chatting to someone for like 6 months. And then it'll be like, finally you book to go over, and then it's like the relationship becomes real, and then they're like, oh, actually no, and you're like, but we've been.
Bruv, yeah, I can't be asked for this. We've been chatting, messaging. You don't know them. You don't know them.
Her message was exactly right. She was up front. She was like, hi, I feel like you've been distant. Like, what's the plan? And then he comes up with this whole bullshit story.
His dad, when he messages next week and shows a picture of
call him. We got his number.
Of his dad with legs going all wazoo. He'd be like, my dad's legs are fucked, man.
I'm not being funny, Ali. If you've got his number, can we call him and ask him?
Why would I have his number?
Oh, but doesn't it come up on the message?
No, it just says...
Let's just call him and say, hi, look, we want to check in here. You know this message you sent about your dad's legs? Or better still, just be like, hi, I just want to find out about your dad's legs.
Call the dad.
It's the hospital.
Yeah, call his dad. How are your legs?
How are your legs?
Senor. He's like, my legs are bueno. And I'm like, you liar! We got him.
We fucking knew
his
it.
legs. Right, we've sorted that one. I think, second one, first one, I think, probably just not that into you. Maybe not a fuckboy, but probably just whatever it was. It just wasn't that. And you did, I didn't think your message stopped that.
No.
Going anywhere. And then second one, I would say, the guy's a fuckboy, bro. He's just living in a fantasy, as you say. Oh, I wish you were here. Oh no, actually, my dad's legs. My fucking dad's legs.
And also, seriously, like, how are you going to date someone? How are you going to be in a relationship with someone who literally can't even say to you, oh, I'd rather you didn't come, and instead has to invent an elaborate lie about how his dad has to go to the hospital? Can you imagine the amount of lies they'd invent on a daily basis just to get out of stuff? They'd be like, yes,
Sorry,
am I boring you?
So I was just watching one of my videos back. It's just
Classic.
Nice. You're quite right though. If they're a lie to start with, it sets the tempo, sets the tone of the relationship. Right, we move on to our final section, which is, of course, Tatty.
I don't know.
Fail mail. This is, of course, when you send it. Fails related to a certain
Big
topic.
fan of the podcast, guys.
Or in this instance, just your thoughts on something that is topical. So, What we've got for you here today is we've just asked for people's thoughts on the British royal family. This is the one where I said you could put this in your story,
Well,
Tatty.
I did get around to it because you messaged me at 10:30 last night.
We get around to it. It gets later, doesn't it? 4:30.
Yeah. I've got a few.
You got a few. That's good. Well, I've got some as well. So we go, as always, to the people who have messaged in on our official Instagram, AIDIFPod, AIDIFPOD. And you can also get an extra Patreon episode every week, patreon.com/AIDIFPod. I guess I'll have to record them alone. Because Tom's not in Dubai. I'm in Dubai on a jet ski with DJ Khaled. So, by the way,
That would be so good if he did meet DJ Khaled.
That would be cool.
Why does he live there?
But I think he's just there quite often. It's just a place.
It's just like a
celeb.
Just a fun thing, isn't it?
Give me a DJ Khaled song.
DJ Khaled. That's at the beginning.
Don't recognise that.
All I do is win.
Sing it.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. That one. That was so good, Phoebes. We fucking didn't even realize that.
Nailed that one.
Yeah.
Give me
That's
that
what
one.
this podcast is named after.
Yeah.
What?
That's
Really?
All I do is fail.
It's a parody.
All I do is win, like the
popular song.
chart-topping huge song from 10 years ago or whatever.
Never heard of it.
It had Rick Ross was in it.
Yeah, it all sorts,
Rick
mate.
Ross.
You know
And
Rick Ross?
Snoop Dogg.
He runs a gig down in Kentish Town. It doesn't. You know Rick Ross?
Smith.
No. You know Rick Ross?
The famous rapper Ross.
Yeah.
Smith.
Yeah, this rings a bell. Rick Ross. What other songs has he done?
He's done Hustling. You know Hustling? Every day I'm hustling.
Oh.
Do you mean every day I'm hustling?
No, that's Shuffling.
That's what I thought.
Okay. Okay,
Right,
this is enough.
Fails. Let's get
We're
back
going to
to
stop the
fails.
podcast rap with your nan, and we're going to go back to All I Do Is Fail. AIDIF fail mail. So thank you everyone who's messaged into the official AIDIF pod account. So we'll start with these ones. Okay, so I personally think Lizzie is actually quite okay, and I'm a fan of her. But I do think she's just surrounded by family members that are continuously cocking things up. Andrew's away trying to sneak into under-18s club. William's cheating on Kate, supposedly. Did you hear this? And Lizzie's just out here trying to drive her Land Rover in peace. So I think that's a fairly popular...
I enjoyed that. Do you know what the funniest thing about what you just did was? I completely forgot we talked about the royal family. And I was like, who's Lizzie?
Who's Lizzie?
It's like, who you chatting about? Yeah, 100% William is shagging other people.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I heard gossip.
I've got insider
You've got
knowledge.
evidence.
Really? Have you? Do you know?
No, but you know he was there was that whole thing about how Kate Middleton hates the Marchioness of blah 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 in Norfolk who lives near her, and it was like this food, but the thing they couldn't reveal was that he was having an affair with her. And he apparently was using, because also apparently it was a big thing that was trending on Twitter, but it had been blocked in the UK.
Oh, really?
So if you were from a French Twitter or a German Twitter or any kind of non-English Twitter, you could see on Twitter all these articles about and all this stuff about how he was in trouble because he had used like a government-funded helicopter to get to his mistress's house.
Slime.
No.
They're
Yeah.
just trying to take us down. They're trying to pollute the great British Empire. That's what they're doing. The classic French and Germans.
I really like that all of your messages are all of my messages are a very different.
Oh, really? No, this is the official AIDIF. We haven't got to my one yet. This is the
Okay.
official AIDIF one. Of course, you're Lucy liberal,
Yeah,
left
everyone's
wing,
like,
don't know they're born,
fucker.
trustafarians are getting involved. Of course they are. Right, we'll go through the official AIDIF pod account. Cunts. One.
Nice.
Sorry, that was actually about us. And then, throwing up emoji.
Oi.
People called Fergie the Duchess of Pork. Turns out Andrew's the pig. Hello. Love
They
most.
really thought about that one.
Love most of them. Meh. Love them more as I get older. That's why you like them. I love them. I mean, I love the ones in line to the throne and the Queen. Okay, so I think people fairly popular over the Queen on
feel
that,
like
but
love
don't
is
like
a
the royal family.
Wrong word for people that you've never met.
Yeah. What have you got, Phoebes?
Fuck 'em. Bullshit. Abolish it. Imperialistic lizard people.
I love it because also all of yours are very short lines. Just fuck 'em, fuck 'em, fuck.
Someone has said, house the homeless in all those palaces and sell off all the jewels.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah,
And
I
then
mean,
someone else has said, I'd grab a drink with Liz.
So I mean, Liz has a
It-
different
I
fan
think
base.
that's
She needs an OnlyFans
Elizabeth is
for
very,
her own content.
she's respected 100. I think she is. I mean, the thing that's difficult about the monarchy is that I think there's a difference between the monarchy and like the individual and also like ideology. So like you can be a Republican in your ideology. If you think about it, you're like, because when you really think about the royal family, when you think about the
I think about
concept
them all
of
the time.
it, yeah. When I really think, you've got to think, it's basically, the idea is literally that they have been chosen by God to lead the people, and that it is a God-given right to do it, and that is like literally selection. So even to believe really in the monarchy, you have to essentially be religious.
That's how I feel about me doing stand-up.
That it was a God-given right.
I've been chosen by God.
How is your solo show going?
Let's not talk about it.
Okay.
So you can get tickets now. I've actually put up all my previews, so you can actually get tickets on my website. Brilliant. More drama than Coronation Street, but not as many explosions or serial killers. Sponges, someone said. Good. I was in need of consoling, and Prince Charles came up to me and said, I'm all ears.
So bad.
Terrible.
That's a low-bearing fruit.
Yeah,
like
but
if
I enjoy eating it.
Yeah, it's good. I'd rather we picked a new family out of a hat each year, and they got to open supermarkets and get free shit.
that is such a great idea.
So good.
Oh my God! Can you imagine if it ended up being?
And they had to represent.
Would
Britain as well.
would they be a fully fledged family already, or would you pick like a random mum, a random?
Oh, that's a good point.
I
yeah.
think
No,
a
I think
family would be
yeah.
fun. Whatever that shape that comes in.
I think you
know
need to
what I
have
mean?
parents and child. That's all that. So it could be a single parent and the child,
exactly.
the minimum, and then more could be.
And everyone has to. They get to like change one law.
Oh yeah, it's a good shout.
Yeah. So they and
Do the monarchy get to change?
no,
laws
no.
now?
No, but they technically could. This is the thing. They technically could because
No, they
you know, for
technically
instance, when
couldn't.
there's a hung parliament, they have to go to like tradition, like ceremoniously, they have to go to get consent from the monarch to do it. I mean, obviously they would. The Queen stays out of it, but the royal family are technically
Yeah, but
law
there's-
above the
I
government.
think it's the same for every time there's a government, though. You go to the Queen. And
Well, it's the Republicans and stuff that
to
don't have.
appoint you.
Yeah, but there's,
Yeah, but
there's
it's
people
not
who
just
don't
the
have.
hung parliament. It's like
No, but I was saying that was an example of where the government could even just sort that. They had to just go
yeah,
and
totally.
get.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's all part of the form.
people say, are they British though? Not a fan. Load of shite. A distraction from the economic crisis and a waste of money. They're all right, I guess. It's important to have a stability institution. Someone just said, cheers from Uruguay. I love them. So it's all going well in
People
Uruguay.
outside of Britain like them more, I think, than British people themselves.
Beautiful family. I'm inexplicably
Well,
fascinated.
I
I'm
disagree
sorry,
with
that's
that.
very
That's
untrue.
not true.
Objectively
no offense to them.
untrue.
Their farts stink just like the rest of us. Prob's worse, to be fair, seeing as they live on caviar. A queen must be a queen and enforce her authority. I want to see more of that in England. So someone's very keen on being ruled by a single queen,
Interesting.
like bees.
Interesting.
They should skip Charles. They are so cool. They're a bit ghastly, aren't they? Why British people like them so much? A frog speaking here. That's what they've said, and I assume that's not.
That wasn't me.
Is that you?
There's other frogs.
Yeah. They're a right royal waste of money. I love them. I love only Queen Elizabeth.
So I think, that's like, are you going to read them all?
The final one I've got
Okay.
is love them. Well, most of them. The Queen would run the country better than jokers in government. Actually, I've got one more. Sorry.
Okay, fucking hell.
So I just remembered you were going to say something, and then I remembered I've got one more.
Oh, well,
And
I'll just leave then.
Our
shall I?
final, yeah.
I'll
I've
just leave.
been making that decision. I don't check your phone. I don't understand the obsession. As an Indian and a Commonwealth citizen, whatever that means, I don't like them. How can people support the royal family that carried out decades and centuries of invasions, massacres, and looting from other nations?
I totally agree with that one.
I mean, yeah, it's really problematic, isn't it? The whole empire, Commonwealth.
I don't understand why Andrew is not getting.
I mean, that really is just...
When they were like, oh, he didn't attend the Jubilee because of COVID. Why was he
Bullshit.
invited? Why was he? Well, yeah,
That was the most convenient way that they could get him to not be there, but also not embarrass him. It was to make out it was COVID. It's so meek. Let me tell you, when Elizabeth passes away, which, let's be honest, I think it's going to be fairly soon. Have you watched any of the...
10 more years.
Have you watched... Do you think so?
No.
I
I thought she was already dead.
That,
I thought they were sort of propping her, doing a little sort of Weekend
mean,
at Bernie's style, Thunderbirds, and someone voice actor.
Have you actually watched...
my subjects. No? Okay.
Have you watched any of the Jubilee coverage?
No.
I've been shagging, mate.
I've been at work.
Okay, it feels
Still
like...
are, Phoebe, so...
I still am, yeah, still on the
concentrate,
clock.
Please, thank
It
you.
feels like pre-funeral. It feels like funeral. Everything.
Pre-funeral, that's
No,
a
but everything.
shit. Phoebe, send her down. She's used to that. You dating one of the royal family.
It feels like that.
Phoebe going
I
around.
feel bad for even saying this because I'm not saying. I mean, I do. you know, there's a difference between the monarchy and like individuals. And like Elizabeth, you got, you know, she's a very elderly woman who's done a lot of stuff. She's a very elderly woman who's done a lot of stuff. So, you know, I've got time for that. But I do have to say that watching the coverage, it has felt like they're really prepping for her death. They keep talking about her in the past tense. Like, she was such a great monarch. And I'm just like, she's still alive.
That's because she's not alive.
Still the monarch.
She's not alive. AI.
Yeah, or they put batteries in her.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a different thing. But I last question to you guys on this topic. Would you date someone in the royal family?
No.
No? Why?
It would be horrible.
Didn't
I would
fancy
not
it? All the riches and the not like a prince, but like someone a bit cousin or something.
I can't. Well, you know this. I can't date anyone with money. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be able.
And they'd keep texting you back, and you'd be like, "Not really fancy that."
Yeah, and I'm not into nonsense.
Yeah.
That is where I draw the line.
Famously.
That's where I draw the line.
What about you, Tats?
I'm trying to think of anyone who.
I don't know, but fictionally even. Just like imagine there's some cousin, they are technically related, you will get coverage about it, but you're
What
not.
if I fell in love with someone? I wouldn't be like, no.
No, I'm not just talking about dating. Would you like straight off be like, no, I don't want to do that?
Honestly, yeah.
Someone else though.
You
Maybe
would.
another country's royal family.
Yeah, but of course it would. Think of the content.
Yeah, it'd be good content.
Think of the jokes. You know, think of
You could sort of use it as like Love Island. You could use it as a platform to launch your own stuff.
Joe, I would definitely, if I'd had this would have been fun to have gotten pregnant.
Sorry, I've never heard that sentence before in my life.
Bit of fun.
Yeah. We're pregnant people. Do you know what word would sum this pregnancy up? Fun. That's what it's been. It's been a laugh.
It might be over, but imagine getting pregnant by one of the princes out of wedlock, and then you could just be like you'd just be the wildling of the royal family. You'd be like, fuck you, I'm gonna raise him how I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be quite funny.
So you'd have like a sort of technically royal child, but it's not.
Yeah, but you'd just do it all completely your way. Like, you dress them whatever you wanted, you'd have to go to royal events, but you could just be like a complete renegade in the whole thing. That could be quite fun.
I would date Queen or nothing. I'm not taking anyone less. Queen.
So we're back to the 31 meets.
This is the new. It was from
97-year-old.
Prince Charles's message in. My 95-year-old mum has started dating a 28-year-old who looks even younger, I must say. Comedian. The thing is, he keeps doing gigs in Buckingham Palace. I think he's just doing it for material, but I don't know. Maybe it's love. Right. That is the end.
Is that the end?
Of this episode of All I Do Is Fail. Did you have a good time, Tatty?
I had a lovely time. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. And I'm glad someone responded because it was getting hairy there for a moment. Thank you, producer Phoebe. You got anything to say? You got any poetry gigs coming up?
No, just buy.
Good. Just come down to Vauxhall Comedy Club, and you can always obviously come down on Tuesdays for Vauxhall Comedy Club. That's where we will be. Tatty, where can people find you?
On the gram and on the TikTok, Tatty.Macleod. Yep, that's where I'm at. I was thinking about live shows. I'm going to be in Edinburgh this year. I'm doing a work in progress.
Fabulous.
In Edinburgh. So Tatty Macleod, work in progress at Cabaret Voltaire.
Lovely.
Free Fringe, or you can buy a ticket for like a £5. And that will be at 7:30 p.m. from, I think, the 12th to the 22nd.
We could hang out, get a glass of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah, you're debuting, aren't you?
Yeah.
Let's chat about that once the show's finished. But yeah, so that's where I'm at.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for listening, guys. We hope you have a wonderful week. Patreon backers, we'll see you at the Patreon episode later in the week, whatever form that takes. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.